we have already marked where our slit is going to go when we were looking at the whole jacket. And now we're going to put a strip of interfacing on the lower end here, and that will stabilize where we're going to sew the slit in. It's a really simple method. I do say don't do it with steam. So you need to iron it on until it really sticks. You might want to check that. If it still comes off like that, you want to go again. And what I like to do is then press it. Lots of steam, and that really will fix it. There we go. One of the things that I've learned was you put on your iron and you count actually to 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Stuck. And then count again. This is all ready to go, so we're going to make one of the sleeves. Now, very important, as for all the sleeves, we have to make sure that the other sleeve is the pair that we're putting together. So I'm just going to place them on top here, like this. Look at that. Okay, that's one. And turn it over. That's my other one. Brilliant. So I'm going to do one at a time. Excellente. So I'm just going to turn this over, and I can see through where I've drawn it. Could have drawn it on this side straight away, but it doesn't really matter. This is towards the back, of course. And we're now going to sew this. And we're going to sew it like this, look. You're going to come along here, and then we're going to sew up to that point and come back down. And then we're going to continue on with our 1 centimeter. You can make this slimmer, this area. You can go steeper if you like, but you need to be a little bit round here because otherwise it's going to fray out. If you're doing it too much of a tip, then you run a risk there. So I'm going to do like a few tiny little round stitches, and I'm going to use very small stitches coming up here, very small stitches coming down. And then here I'm going to use a normal stitch length. So again, 1 centimeter seam allowance until you're almost on your slit. Now I want to come up, and this is the part where I was saying, you don't want to come up too much at an angle. So what I'm trying to do is to come around almost in a little curve here. Like that, okay, so, and I've got my smaller stitch length, and I go up, see, slight curve. My machine needs a service. It's like, so, slightly round, and then I'm coming back down. Bit difficult to see. There we go. You also can see that I keep doing this with my fingers like really wide apart. That's a really good trick to hold your fabric. And going back down. So I've left a little gap, and now I'm just going to go to the end, but I can put my stitch length back up. And there we go. I've created a really lovely little slit. Now it's up to you whether you say, actually, I want it to be a little bit higher or lower or whatever. That is taste. I quite like it like that. So and now we can go on to the grim step where we're cutting into it all the way to the top. That's really scary, you see. And if you'd not left enough space, it's so easy for it to fray. And I'm cutting right into the tip there. And then I'm also going to take away my corners. Like that, and now we can move it to the other side. So we've got a little slit. It's actually a very simple method. It works really well. It looks really nice. There we go. That's going to go to the inside. There we are. Beautiful. Cool, right? So what I need to do now is just work out my corners a little bit here. Gorgeous. Other side. Get your pin in there, never go right into the tip point, but always go a little bit over to the side and then push it upwards. Beautiful. Done that. Now I can iron it. So I'm going to actually iron it into one direction first, if you can. Just iron it over. And then I'm going to iron it apart. It's just easier that way. Much easier than to try it from the outside in its entirety. So now put it in front of you so that you can roll the edges forward like that. Look, and that way it'll just go into place where it needs to sit anyway. It's just dead easy. With sewing, it's very much doing the right steps at the right time. How cute is that little cuff, right? Next step, we're going to close the whole sleeve in one. And the only slightly tricky bit is here, of course, because we're very close to the edge. But it's not as hard as trying to put a slit in afterwards. This is just a little bit fiddly. It's not so bad on the bigger sizes either, because the slit moves over a little bit. It's not quite so close. Here we go. I don't think it's really a problem. Put a few pins in, like that. And then on the end, ta-da! And then we're going to do the other end. There we are. Great. Okay, let's go. Let's sew this together. I'll take my pins out. Excellent. And guess what we're doing now? Yes, ironing. We do the same as always. We kind of go and iron it flat like that. And then we can go on to actually the sleeve ironing board, I think, in this case. Let's put the sleeve on this bad boy. It's a bit too small, as you can see, so I can do the beginning of it and then mine isn't very slim at the end, but this is also the smallest size because I wanted to make a few varieties and I didn't want it to do it in the biggest size, right? So hang on, get this apart. I hope you're following this all along and saying, oh, this is so nice. I'm so glad I can sew like that now and, you know, things don't look so homemade. It's such a pleasure when things come out right, I tell you, I love it. I think we all struggled when we first started, but there's no need to. Right, now then, one important thing is to get your thumb in here when you turn this thing because this will want to fold over. Especially since I didn't really get there with my iron. So I'm holding it with my one hand and then I'm going to give it a really good press. There we go. Oh, so nice. I can now give this a final press.